Today I learned a little bit more about Python and how I can, get information from my Arduino as a sensor, for example. Get this information, process it, and then send a command based on my information. Pretty much, collect information, send command. And, I want to show how it's done. But first, for you to understand exactly what's happening, I need to show it actually working. So you will see a lot of things here, a lot of messy cables and a little cat here. This is Crystal, by the way. I hope she doesn't try to eat my cables, but I want to show it here. You can see it's turned on. Now I would actually turn on the program, and you will see that it turns off, which seems kind of weird. But let me explain. This little project here is taking the information from this light sensor you can see right here, and it's turning the information taking here to information to the left. So if I block this, it would turn on. If I unblock this, it would turn off. Pretty much, if the information that's getting is low enough, it will tell to activate it, and if this information is getting a lot of luminosity, then it would turn off. So you can see on, off, on, off, on, off. So it's pretty incredible, really, because it's actually a pretty simple code, much simpler than I thought it would be. But let me now show you. So the code here, it's pretty simple. If I'm going to make a very quick overview, it's pretty much I import things, I connect to the Arduino, and while I'm connected to Arduino, I will I define this at the second part here, because it's actually very interesting. I'm gonna activate my overall view so you can actually show you. But how Arduino works? Well, Arduino, again, there's a lot of things that happens in Arduino. After all, it's a microcontroller. But when you send with the Arduino sketch, for example, some code to the Arduino, and it will send, we do the upload. That's actually called upload, because it would send to the Arduino, and then the Arduino will save it. So you need to run this code first, and this code is just saying that when I set up, I define the P mode as 10 output, which pretty much means that the 10th pin is now in the P mode output. Defining the serial begin, it means I'm connecting and finally with the serial. This is actually the rate of the connection, so very interesting. And here in this little loop, I'm just saying that I define the variable, which is an int for the value received, the int from the light or from the analog read 1, which is where I'm getting the information of my light sensor from. I'm delaying every 5 seconds. I think they are. I think it does even 5 seconds. I think it's probably half second. 5 seconds will be 1000. But I'm delaying every 0.5 seconds. I'm telling that the value received is serial read, and if my value equals 0, then low, or else it will be high. It pretty much means that when I receive from the computer or from my serial a 0, which is 0 bytes, it will tell me to activate it or to deactivate it. Now I send this code to the Arduino, and this code is actually running, but I have the connection made with Python, so that needs to be clear. Pretty much what I'm trying to say is that that code is in the Arduino and this code is pretty much the central, so it's my connection to the Arduino. In this case, pretty much I'm saying that I'm not exactly programming Arduino as much I am just connecting with it. Sounds kind of weird, I know, but what I'm trying to say is that the code there, the code in the Arduino I know, is the code that the Arduino actually has, and the code in the Python here is the code that is connecting to, that's communicating with the serial, which is pretty interesting. It kind of puts in perspective. Now, I just want to explain a little bit about the electronics before I explain more about the code, because after all, the code is 100% dependent on the, well, hardware here. So let's start with the cables. There are quite a few of them, as you can see. The red one is the voltage one. I send is 5 volts. This is the connection of the 10th pin, or the pin of the command. This pin is what I am commanding my LED to turn on or off anytime. That's the cable I'm using here. The blue cable is just a ground cable. The magenta is where I'm getting the information from, or from the, well, light sensor. There are also this little cable here is just making a bridge of the, well, just making a bridge of a ground connection, and you can see some resistors just to make sure that the connection will survive a lot, because after all, if you just put it there, it will survive for a while, but it may burn the components. So it's just to pretty much ensure longevity. So now you can see here, magenta is connected to A1, here ground, 5 volts, and here you can see, or you might be able to see, it's connected to 10th. So, well, it looks more complicated than it actually is, though it also doesn't look much complicated at all. But you can see here, it's a simple, very simple setup, and well, pretty much I'm doing two separate things. I'm collecting information from the light sensor, and I'm sending information to the LED. If I had two different proto boards here, it wouldn't matter. I would just need an extra ground connection. In one proto board, you can just have this ground connection, but that's pretty much the difference. So now that we understand the hardware, we need to understand a little more about how I'm doing this. So, well, I will first start by importing my serial commands, and again, you need to have them installed. So you go, if you don't have them, or if you don't know you have them, go in File and Settings. You will see there. Let me activate the overview here, Settings, and you will see that you can just go here, somewhere here in plugins, and then you just type in, okay, maybe not plugins, but you just type here somewhere exactly that there is a place here, I just cannot find it now. It's pretty much a place, it's pretty much like this plugin part, but it's not actually put here. Build, and you will see that is just the console, not console, build tools. Now again, I actually remember where it is. I found it here actually. It's just using the project Python project and then Python interpreter. Now again, I'm using PyShine. If you're using any different other a visualizing of Python, you would definitely find it somewhere else. Or maybe not definitely, but you will find it somewhere else probably. So here in PyCharm, that's it. Very interesting. It's just kind of weird that it took a lot of time, but just go here in Python interpreter and you just add a new package. You search. This needs to have the Py serial, but as you can see here, I just import the serial and I import some serial tool specifically. So from serial.tools, my list ports. That is pretty much that well, list ports. You can see that actually there's a lot of code here, but as you can see here, I actually again list the ports. That's very important because if I want to have a connection or to find it where the connection is, well, here it is. Okay, so I had this part here, so it's just the imports, and now I define for port in listports.com ports. Pretty much means that in the ports of my port list or all the ports I have on my computer, I will print the device. Then this is pretty much a gap where this gap will be filled with this information. If you go back up here again, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We just take here. So device, then I print this port description, then I print the port itself, which port device. So here I just give some space for it. Then I say that if the Arduino in it pretty much is just defined. If Arduino import description dot upper, it means that if one of my serials connects to Arduino, then I will try a connection to it. Now my connection is defined. I just creating here a variable. I will try actually to connect, and first I define that the variable connection is just the serial connection to the Arduino. Exactly, it pinpoints where the Arduino is. Then the connection rate or the connection speed. Then I print that connection is made with. Then I tell exactly what uh, clone it is. You can see here connection made with clone 9. Pretty much is where it tells me. So then it will say here if it doesn't work, I will just pass. And if I pass, I will not connect to anything, and it will just go here, right in the bottom of everything, and say there's no parts available. So, well, you can see that actually didn't happen because I actually could connect. So, well, then it will just start a connection. So if my connection is different from nothing, it pretty much means that if I connected something, then I will print firstly initialize, which is pretty much just to tell me that I actually connected to something, and then I would do an infinite loop. So while true, and why this is an infinite loop? That because that you do not define like if while I don't know, answer equals true, or answer equals 1, or answer equals yes, or while true equals something. No, you just say while true, and while true for anything. So, well, it just will go on forever. I'm gonna hear my cat in the background. um, well, so again, let's go back. I actually doing infinite loop here, and then I will say every time I will repeat this forever, pretty much. So I will print that I'm receiving a data, just to tell that I receiving something. Then I will say that response. I turn this variable response equals to the connection with line. That pretty much the information I'm getting from a serial, which again is the sensor here. The light sensor connection or the light sensor information. Then I will turn that into a value, into a float variable, and turn it into a variable called value, and I will decode it, since after all it comes in information, it comes actually in bytes. So I define that I'm pretty much decoding it to float. Then I print the actual value, which you can see here, for example, 516, or if I go to the later 5.3, if you block it now, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I just print the value just to tell me exactly. It's pretty much troubleshoot. You don't need to print anything to make something work unless you want to communicate with the user. So it's just easier to see what's happening overall. So then I do a little questioning. So if my value is below 400, I can actually put this like below 401 or below or equal to 400. Then I will send my connection. This connection line just means that I'm sending my connection, which again is the serial I'm connected to, B1. This B is equal byte, and the 1 is the information. Now, bytes usually, especially Arduino, they work very easily with zeros and ones. 1 equals yes or on, and 0 equals no or off. So I'm pretty much telling them if the value is below 400, then I will say yes, and if it's not, I will say no. If I eventually stop this loop for any reason, like I disconnect or I stop my code, it will just close the connection and then you print the connection ended. Or if nothing of the all happened, then you just say that there are no parts of it. So, well, let's break down. Pretty much, let's do an overview pretty much. Here I import, here I connect, and here I, well, especially here actually, I initiate. Then I do what I'm doing here. You can see I checking the information, and if the information is below a certain threshold, I can send yes, and this yes is the 10th pin, which again is the pin that makes me turn on the light. And as you can see, if the information is below a certain threshold, it would just, you can see here, just camera, it would just turn on or turn off. So again, what exactly am I doing? Connecting information from the sensor, processing it on the computer, then sending the information back as a command, turn on the light. So it's pretty interesting indeed, and I think, actually I don't think, I know this actually has a lot of uses. Now, what do I mean, yeah? What are these uses per se? Well, those are what I want to do with information. For example, if I want to do this around the house, let's say I have a beautiful backyard and I'm worried about the electrical bill. I don't want it to be too high. What I do, I do a little shenanigans with the electrical connection. I have Arduino or any other type of setup where I have a light sensor on, for example, the top of the roof of my house or in top of a tree. It always gets the, well, luminosity of the place. And if it's, I don't know, noon, it will be uh, a lot of luminosity, and this would just tell me that I don't need to turn on the lights. And when eventually the luminosity goes down a certain threshold, let's say it's late noon, I think it's noon, let's say it's about to get to the night, but it still has a little sunlight left. Anybody want to activate right there, then you just put this insert threshold and boom, you will have it. Turn on the lights for you, or turn on the motor for you, or send you an email. And well, you would do what you want when this certain threshold. And you cannot just apply to the luminosity. Anything that connects, anything at all, really much, anything that connects to a central and gets information from it or from an external source, we need this somehow. Unless you want to everyone manually do the work, you can have a machine do for it, and well, it's pretty cool indeed. I must tell. So very interesting product indeed. It's actually the last. This is the last project that we have from the course. So next time we're gonna see something different, probably something with artificial intelligence. So I'm kinda excited for that, and pretty much curious how this is going to work. But until then, which is actually tomorrow, I want to thank anyone who's been watching my videos, and if you actually like it, just consider subscribing and like this video, and not just that, but well, watch the other content. You will have to understand what exactly happened here, how it came to be, to making sensors working and send information from these information. So, well, I hope you liked it. If you did, I see you tomorrow. Bye.